boys, girls, young and old and new. Greetings from WBFR Studio A in Manhattan, New York, right here in the US of A. I'm your host, Freddie Fillmore, and it's my pleasure to bring you your favorite stories this and every week on Playhouse of the A. Tonight, we bring you a real feel-good heartwarmer, perfect for this or any Christmas Eve. It's a Wonderful Life. We begin our story in the little town of Bedford Falls, New York, US of A, where a number of people in the town are praying for their dear friend, a typical American dreamer named George Bailey.
Dear God, please look over my husband, George.
George is a good boy. You know that. My son has always gone out of his way to give others a hand. Now it's him who needs the help.
Help my big brother George. He's done so much for all of us. More for me than I remember.
I remember all the times he would stay late after work and not ask for a single cent. The world needs more, like George Bailey.
He never thinks about himself. I wouldn't have a roof over my head.
If it wasn't for him, I would have given up long ago. All I ever think about is myself. I must have taken the last cent he
He
had.
had no sense of business, that George Bailey, just like his father. None of the Baileys were ever businessmen. It's his own fault if he wasn't prepared for times like these.
Times like these, I can't help but think it's all my fault. Help him, Father. It's me who's putting him through all this.
Should we pray for him, Mommy?
Something's the matter with Daddy.
Yes, Susan. Pray very hard.
The voices carry heavenward, and Joseph, the superintendent of angels, summons Clarence, an apprentice angel.
You sent for me, sir?
Yes, Clarence. A man down on Earth needs our help.
Splendid! Is he sick?
No, worse. He's discouraged. At exactly 10:45 p.m. tonight, Earth time, that man will be thinking seriously of throwing away God's greatest gift.
Oh, dear, dear. His life! Then I've only an hour to dress. What are they wearing now?
You will spend that hour getting acquainted with George Bailey.
Sir, if I am to accomplish this mission, might I perhaps wear my wings? I've been waiting over 200 years now, and people are beginning to talk.
What's that book you've got there?
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Sir, I was reading it when you sent for me.
Oh, fine book. Excellent. Well, you do a good job with George Bailey, and we'll see about your wings.
Thank you, thank you!
Now, if you're going to help George, you'll want to know a little something about him. Look, see the town?
Why, yes. A group of young boys sledding down a snow-covered hill onto the ice. This is amazing!
Yippee!
Who's that?
That's your problem. George Bailey.
A boy?
That's him when he was 12, back in 1919. Something happened to him you'll have to remember later on.
And here comes a scared baby, my kid brother, Harry Bailey.
I'm not scared. Come on, Harry. Get out of this. Come on, Harry.
Help! Help!
Oh dear, Harry's fallen through the ice.
I'm coming, Harry. Make a chain gang. A chain.
So, his brother fell through the ice, but George saved him.
Yes, Clarence. And ever since George has had a bad ear. All the icy water, you understand?
Bad ear. Yes, sir.
The other event came a few months later. George took an after-school job at Old Man Gower's drugstore.
It's me, Mr. Gower. George Bailey. You're late. Yes, sir.
Hello, George. Hello, Mary.
Hello, Violet.
2 cents worth of shoelaces, Violet?
Mary was here first.
I'm still thinking.
Shoelaces?
Please, Georgie. I like him.
You like every boy.
What's wrong with that?
Here you are.
Bye, Georgie. See you later, Mary.
Made up your mind yet, Mary?
I'll take chocolate.
With coconuts?
I don't like coconuts.
You don't like coconuts? Say, brainless, do you know where coconuts come from? Look at here. From Tahiti, the Fiji Islands, the Coral Sea.
What's that you've got there? A new magazine? I never saw it before.
Of course you never. Only us explorers get it. I've been nominated for membership in the National Geographic Society. Let me get your ice cream.
Is this the ear you can't hear on? George Bailey, I'll love you till the day I die.
I'm going out exploring someday. Just you watch. And I'm gonna have a couple of harems. And maybe 3 or 4 wives. Wait and see.
George? George!
Yes, sir?
You're not paid to be a canary.
Yes, sir.
Goodbye, George.
Goodbye, Mary.
What's that piece of paper George just picked up?
It's a telegram for Mr. Gower. He found out this morning that his son died of influenza.
Oh, awful.
Yes, and he spent the afternoon drowning his grief in whiskey.
Mr. Gower, do you want something? Anything?
No.
Anything I can do back here?
No.
I'll get them, sir. What's this bottle, Mr. Gower?
Never mind that. Take these capsules over to Mrs. Bland's.
Yes, sir. They have a diphtheria there, haven't they, sir?
Is
it a charge, sir?
Yes, charge.
Mr. Gower, I think...
Get going.
Yes, sir. Mr. Gower?
What is it?
Mr. Gower, that bottle you used, I think you put something wrong in those capsules.
Who do you think you're talking to?
You're hurting my sore ear.
Did you hear what I said? Get out of here!
Mr. Gower, you don't know what you're doing. You put something wrong in those capsules. I know you're unhappy. You got that telegram and you're upset. It wasn't your fault, Mr. Gower. But look. Look, Mr. Gower, look! This bottle! You used this bottle to make up the capsules. It's poison!
Poison?
Don't hit my sore ear again.
Poison? Oh, George. George!
All I wanted was to make sure. Mr. Gower, I won't tell anyone. I know what you're feeling. I won't ever tell a soul. Hope to die I won't.
Oh, George.
Did he ever tell anyone about those pills?
Not a soul.
Did he ever marry the girl? Did he ever go exploring?
We'll get there soon enough, Clarence. When George Bailey grew up, he wanted to go to college, but there just wasn't the money. So he worked 4 years in the Building and Loan Association.
Building and Loan Association?
George's father was in the building and loan business, along with George's uncle, Billy.
George, what's the combination to the safe?
We wrote it down so you wouldn't forget it.
That's right. Where?
Your wallet, Uncle Billy.
Thanks.
Lovable fellow, just forgetful is all.
Who's that?
That's Henry F. Potter, the richest and meanest man in all the county.
Peter, Potter's here.
Mr. Bailey, Mr. Bailey, Mr. Bailey. There is nothing quite so loathsome as a family business. Now, Peter, you know what I'm here for. I'm on a very tight schedule, a family to evicted 3.
Okay then, Mr. Potter, here's the thing. I just need a little more time. Just 30 short days. I'll take up the $5,000 somehow.
Have you put any real pressure on these people of yours to pay their mortgages?
Times are hard, Mr. Potter. A lot of people are out of work.
And foreclose.
I can't do that. These families have children.
Oh, they're not my children.
But they're somebody's children.
Are you running a business or a charity award, man?
Well, alright.
Not with my money.
Mr. Potter, what makes you such a hard-skulled character? You have no family, no children. You can't begin to spend all the money you've got.
So I suppose I should give it to miserable failures like you and that idiot brother of yours to spend for me?
He's not a failure. You can't say that about my father.
George.
You're not. You're the biggest man in town.
Alright, thanks, son. I'll talk to you tonight.
Don't let him say that about you, Pop.
Tonight.
What kind of business are you running here? Good God, man.
George worked for his father, saving enough to see him through the university. That summer, though, he was going to Europe. George got a job on a cattle boat and was ready to do a little traveling before college. Old man Gower surprised him with a gift, a great big suitcase. On his way home from the store, he ran into his friends Ernie the cab driver and Bert the cop.
Hey, Ernie.
Hi, George.
Hi, Bert.
Hey, George. What's the suitcase for?
I'm a rich tourist today. How's about driving me home in style?
Sure, Your Highness. Up in the cab. And for the carriage trade, it's on my hat.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bailey. Looks like you're ready to get out of here.
Hello, Violet. Hey, you look good. What's some dress you got on there?
Oh, this old thing? Why, I only wear it when I don't care how I look. See you later.
How would you like?
Yes.
Want to come along, Bert? We'll show you the town. No
George saved up money to go away to college. His bags were packed, and he was all set to go.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's sure hard to realize it's the last night here in the Bailey boarding house.
We're sure gonna miss you, George.
I'm gonna miss you too, Pop. Say, what's wrong? You look tired.
Oh, I had another tussle with old Henry Potter today.
Oh,
I thought when we put him on the board of directors, he'd ease up on us.
I wonder what's bothering that old money-grubbing buzzard anyway.
Oh, he's a sick man. Frustrated and sick. Sick in his mind, sick in his soul. If he has one. Hates everybody who has anything he can have. Hates us mostly, I guess.
Hey, George, can I borrow your tuxedo studs?
Yeah, help yourself, Harry.
Oh, well, where are they? In your suitcase?
I'm not taking a tuxedo on a cattle boat, you know.
Say, where'd you get that fine piece of luggage anyway?
Ah, Mr. Gower. A going away present. And one of these days you're going to see that bag all covered with travel labels. Italy, Baghdad.
Hey, why don't you come to the dance tonight?
What? You be bored to death?
Oh, when you couldn't want a better death. Lots of pretty girls. Hey, I've got to hurry.
I wish we could send Harry to college with you, George.
We have that all figured out. You see, Harry will take my job at the building alone, work there for 4 years, and then he'll go.
He's pretty young for that job.
Well, no younger than I was.
You were born older, George. I suppose you've already decided what you're going to do when you get out of college.
Oh, well, you know, what I've always talked about. Building things. Design new buildings. Plan modern cities.
Still after that first million before you're 30?
No, I'll sell it for half that in cash.
Of course, it's just a hopeful thought, but you wouldn't mind coming back to the building alone, would you? I know it's still a little early to talk about it.
Oh, I couldn't face being cooped up for the rest of my life in that shabby little office. Oh, I'm sorry, Pop. You know I didn't mean that remark. It's just this business of nickels and dimes and spending your whole life trying to save it on a length of pipe. I'd go crazy. I want to do something big and something important.
You know, George, I feel that in a small way, we are doing something important. Satisfying a fundamental urge. It's not too much for a man to want his own walls, roof, fireplace. And we are helping that man get those things in our shabby little office.
I know, Dad. I wish I felt, but I've been hoarding pennies like a miser in order to. Half my friends have already graduated from college. I just feel like if I don't get away, I'd bust.
Yes. You're right, boy. This place is no place to live in if you aren't willing to crawl to Mr. Potter. You get yourself an education and get out of here.
I'm glad you see what I'm talking about, Pop. Say, I think I'm gonna go down an old Main Street. Last night in town and all.
Have a good time, son.
Who's that? Why, that's Violet Mink.
The little girl from the candy counter?
That's right.
Hello, Georgie Porgy.
Hello, Vi.
What gives?
Oh, nothing.
Where are you going?
Oh, I'll probably end up at the library.
Georgie, don't you ever get tired of just reading about things?
Yes. What are you doing tonight?
Not a thing.
Are you game, Vi? What do you say we make a night of it?
Oh, I love it, Georgie. What do we do?
Let's go out in the fields and take off our shoes and walk in the grass.
Huh?
And then we can go up to Stewart Lake. It's beautiful up there in the moonlight, and we can swim. And then we can climb Mount Bedford and smell the pines and watch the sunrise against the peaks. And then we can stay up for the whole night, and everybody be talking, and there'll be a terrific scandal.
George, have you lost your mind? Go up in the lake with my bare shoes and walk in the grass? Well, it's 10 miles up there to Mount Bedford. You think just because you... Ow!
Okay, just forget about the whole thing anyway.
Forget about what, George?
Oh, nothing, Sam.
Say, you remember Mary, don't you?
Hi, George.
Hi, Mary.
Say, you wouldn't mind walking Mary home, would you, George?
Of course not. Is that okay with you, Mary?
Fine by me.
Oh, great, thanks.
So, George walked Mary home. Is that important, Joseph?
I'd say it is, because even though Mary lived only 4 blocks away, it took them 2 hours to get there.
Buffalo cows, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight. Come out tonight. Buffalo cows, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? Hot dog. Oh boy. Just like an organ. Gee whiz.
Beautiful.
You know something? If it wasn't me talking, I'd say you're the prettiest girl in town.
Well, why don't you say?
I don't know. Maybe I will. How old are you anyway?
18.
18?
Too young or too old?
Oh no, just right. Your age fits you. Hey, look where we are.
Oh, the old Granville house.
Yeah, I gotta throw a rock.
Oh no, don't. I love that old house.
Well, no. Don't you know about deserted houses? You make a wish and then you throw a rock.
But George, it's such a lovely old place. I wish I lived there.
And there? I wouldn't live there if I was a ghost. Now watch. Watch this. How about it, huh? Pretty good shot, huh? Broke a window, huh?
What's your wish, George?
Well, not just one wish. A whole hatful, Mary. I'm shaking the dust of this crummy little town off my feet, and I'm going to see the world. I'm going to go to Italy, Greece, the Parthenon, the Colosseum, and then I'm coming back here to go to college and see what they know. And then I'm going to build things. I'm going to build airfields. I'm going to build skyscrapers 100 stories high. I'm going to build bridges a mile long. And then I'm going to... Hey, what? Are you going to throw a rock too? Hey, that's pretty good. What'd you wish for, Mary?
Oh no. If I tell you, it may not come true.
Hey, Mary. Come on. What do you want, huh? Do you want the moon? All you gotta do is just say the word now.
Okay, the moon. I'll take it. And then what?
Then what? I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down. And then you can swallow it, and it all dissolves, see? And the moonbeams shoot out of your fingers and toes and the ends of your hair. Am I talking too much?
Yes, why don't you kiss her instead of talking her to death?
Who's that?
Old man Collins on his front porch.
Ah, youth is wasted on the wrong people.
Hey, come on. Hey, mister, come back out here and I'll show you some kissing that'll put hair back on your head. Why don't you come back out here?
George!
Uncle Billy?
George, get in the car quick. Your father's had a stroke.
I'm sorry. I've got to go, Mary.
George's father died that night, Clarence. So of course, George couldn't go to Europe. But that fall, just as he was ready to leave for college, the directors of the building and loan held a meeting. They were going to appoint a successor.
I think this is the perfect time
I don't understand what's going on. I think the decision is quite clear. Is there any meeting here? How do you know?
I want the board to know that George Bailey gave up his trip to Europe to help straighten things out around here, and it was greatly appreciated. I think that's all we'll need you for, George. Good luck to you at school. I know you're anxious to make a train.
Yes, I have a taxi waiting downstairs.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to get to my real purpose. I claim this institution is not necessary to this town. Therefore, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to dissolve the building and loan and turn its assets and liabilities over to the receiver.
Finally, a reasonable
finally. There's about time like that.
Excuse you, what do you mean? This proposal is perfect. Exactly.
No, it is too soon after Peter Bailey's death to discuss chloroforming the building and loan. It was his faith and devotion that are responsible for this organization.
I'll go further than that. I will say to the public that Peter Bailey was the building and loan.
Well, that's fine, Potter, coming from you, considering you probably drove him to his grave.
Peter Bailey was not a businessman. That's what killed him. Oh, I don't mean any disrespect to the man, God rest his soul. He was a man of high ideals, so-called, but ideals without common sense can ruin this town. What does that get us? A discontented, lazy rabble instead of a thrifty working class. And all because a few starry-eyed dreamers like Peter Bailey stir them up and fill their heads with a lot of impossible hooey. Now, I say...
Just a minute. Now, hold on, Mr. Potter. You're right when you say my father was no businessman. Why he ever started this cheap penny-ante building and loan, I'll never know. But neither you nor anybody else can say anything against his character, because his whole life was white. And the 25 years since he and Uncle Billy started this whole thing, he never once lied to himself. Isn't that right, Uncle Billy?
You got that right.
He didn't save up enough money to send Harry to school, let alone me. But he did help a few people get out of your slums, Mr. Potter. And what's wrong with that? Why, here, you're all businessmen here. Doesn't it make them better citizens? Doesn't it make them better customers? You said, what did you just say a minute ago? They ought to wait and save their money before they even ought to think of a decent home? Wait? Wait for what? Until the children are so grown and old that they have to leave them? until they're so old and broken down that they... Do you know how long it takes a working man to save $5,000?
He works.
Just remember this, Mr. Potter, that this rabble you're talking about, they do most of the working and paying and living and dying in this community. Well, is it so much to have them do the work and pay and live and die in a couple of decent rooms and a bath? Well, anyway, my father didn't think so. People were human beings to him, but to you, a work-frustrated old man, they're cattle. Well, in my book, my father died a much richer man than you'll ever be.
I'm not interested in your book. I'm talking about the building and loan.
I know very well what you're talking about. You're talking about something you can't get your fingers on, and it's galling you. That's what you're talking about, I know. Well, anyway, I've said too much. You're the board here. You do what you want with this thing. But there's just one more thing, though. This town needs this measly one-horse institution if only to have some place where people can come to without having to crawl to Mr. Potter. Come on, Uncle Billy.
Sentimental hogwash. I want my motion.
We're seriously going to consider this. We're young men who must know these people.
They're just coming out of the board meeting. I'll have to call you back. What happened, George? All we heard was a lot of yelling.
Boy, oh boy, Matilda, you should have heard George.
Yeah, they're voting us down in there.
George, get out of here. You missed your boat trip. Do you want to miss college too? Don't worry about the board. They're putting us out of business. So what? I can find another job. I'm only 55.
You're 58.
Well, what's done is done. If it's fault, it's not mine. George, they voted Potter down. We're still in business.
What do you? We're still in business. We're still in business.
But there's one condition, George. They've appointed you to take your father's place.
Appoint me? But I'm going to college. Uncle Billy here, he's your man.
You can keep him on. That's all right.
Let's get this straight. I'm leaving, and I'm leaving right now. I'm going to school. This is my last chance.
But George, you've got to take it. They'll vote with Potter otherwise.
So, George Bailey didn't go to college?
That's right, Clarence. He gave his college money to his brother Harry, and Harry went instead.
But what about the good-looking girl? You know, Mary.
Oh, George saw her now and then. Not very often, though, because Mary went away to school, too. Anyway, George waited 4 years more for Harry to come back and take over the building and loan. Then, he could still see the world. He planned to work in the oil fields of Venezuela.
Out she blows. Say, Uncle Billy, you know what the three most wonderful sounds on earth are?
Breakfast is served, lunch is served, and dinner is served?
No. Anchor chains, plane motors, and boat whistles. Hey, here comes the professor now.
Well, George, Geographic Explorer Bailey. And Uncle Billy, you haven't changed a bit.
No one changes around here. You know that.
Oh, am I glad to see you.
Oh, say, where's Mother?
She's home cooking the fatted cat. Now, come on.
Oh,
let's go.
wait. This is Ruth Dakin.
Ruth Duncan Bailey, if you don't mind.
Huh?
Well, I wired you I had a surprise, and here she is. Meet the wife.
Well, what do you know? Wife.
Well, how do you do? What am I doing? Congratulations. Harry, why didn't you tell anybody? What's a pretty girl like you doing marrying this two-headed brother of mine?
Well, I'll tell you, it's purely mercenary. My father offered him a job.
Oh, he gets you and a job, huh? Harry's cup runneth over. Come on, Ruth, let's start ahead and leave the bags for the fellas.
All right.
George, about that job, Ruth spoke out in turn. I never said I would take it. Listen, you've been holding the bag here for 4 years, and, well, I won't let you down.
It's all right, Harry. It's all right.
And that night, the homecoming for Harry became his wedding party. Uncle Billy familiarized himself with the spirits.
Boy, oh boy, I feel so good I can spit in Potter's eye. I think I will. What do you say? Maybe I should go home if you point in the right direction.
Right down there.
Well, old building in Long Pal, I'll see you later. I'm all right.
George?
Yeah, I'm out here on the porch, Mother. Just thought I'd get some air.
Well, how do you like the new sister-in-law?
She's swell.
Looks like she'll keep Harry on his toes.
Yeah, keep him out of Bedford Falls, anyway.
George. Do you know that Mary Hatch is back from school?
Yeah.
Nice girl, Mary.
Uh-huh.
Oh, stop grumbling. Give me one good reason you shouldn't go call on Mary.
Well, Sam Wainwright. Sam's crazy about it.
Well, she's not crazy about him.
Well, now, how do you know that? Did she discuss it with you?
Besides, Sam's away in New York, and you're here in Bedford Falls.
And all's fair in love and war?
I don't know about war.
All right, Mother. I think I'll find the girl and do a little bit of passionate necking.
Oh, George!
Bye, Mrs. Bailey. By the way, want any books at the library?
The library, George! George, you go see Mary, you hear?
Hello, George.
Hello, Mary. I just happened to be passing by.
Your mother just phoned and said you were on your way over to pay me a visit.
My mother just phoned you? Well, how did she know?
Well,
I didn't tell anybody. I just went for a walk and happened to be passing by. What do you... Just went for a walk, that's all. When did you get back?
Tuesday. Would you like to come in?
Well, I guess since I'm here... Say, where'd you get that dress?
Do you like it?
It's alright. I thought you'd go back to New York with Sam and Francie and the rest of them.
I worked a couple of vacations, but I don't know. I guess I was homesick.
Homesick for Bedford Falls?
Yes, and my family and, everything. Would you like to sit down?
Alright, for a minute. I still can't understand it, though. You know I didn't tell anybody I was coming here.
Would you rather leave?
No, I don't want to be rude.
It was nice about Harry and Ruth, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that's alright.
Don't you like her?
Well, of course I like her. She's a peach.
Oh, it's just marriage in general you're not enthusiastic about, huh?
No, marriage is okay for Harry, and Sam Wainwright, and you.
Mary! Mary, who's out there with you?
It's George Bailey, Mother!
George Bailey? Well, what does he want?
I don't know. What do you want, George?
Me? Not a thing. I just came in to get warm.
He's making violent love to me, Mother!
Oh! You tell him to go right back home. And don't leave the house. Sam Wainwright promised to call from New York tonight, didn't he?
Your mother needn't, you know I didn't come here to...
What did you come here for?
I don't know. You tell me. You're supposed to be the one who has all the answers. You tell me.
Oh, why don't you go home?
That's where I'm going. I don't know why I came here in the first place.
Mary! Telephone! It's Sam!
I'll get it. Hee-haw. Hello, Sam. How are you?
Ah, great. Gee, it's good to hear your voice again.
Well, that's awfully sweet of you, Sam. There's an old friend of yours here, George Bailey.
You mean old Mossback George?
Yes, old Mossback George.
Hee-haw, put him on.
Wait a minute. I'll call him. George!
He doesn't want to speak to George, you idiot.
He does so. He asked for him. George, Sam wants to speak to you.
Hello, Sam.
Hey, you fine pal you are. What you trying to do, steal my girl?
What do you mean? Nobody's trying to steal
Ah,
your girl.
no, wait a minute. I want to talk to both of you. Tell Mary to get on the extension.
Mother's on the extension.
I am not.
We can both hear you. George, just put your head a little closer.
Okay.
There. That's better. We're listening, Sam.
Okay, I have a big deal coming up that's going to make us all rich. George, you remember that night at Martini's bar where you told me about making plastics out of soybeans?
Huh? Yes, soybeans. Yeah.
Well, my father's checked into it, George, see? And he's going to build a factory outside of Rochester. How do you like that?
Rochester? Well, why Rochester?
Oh, well, why not? Can you think of anything better?
Oh, I don't know. Why not right here in Bedford Falls? You know that old tune machinery works. You tell your father you can get that for a song. And all the labor he wants, too. Half the town was thrown out of work when they closed down.
Oh, that's so. Well, I'll tell him. Gee, that sounds great. Oh, baby, I knew you'd come through. Now, here's the point, George. I may have a job for you. That is, unless you're still married to that old broken-down building and loan. Oh, Mary?
I'm here.
You tell that guy I'm giving him the chance of a lifetime, you hear?
He says it's the chance of a lifetime.
Give me that phone. Now you listen to me, Mary. I don't want any plastics and I don't want any job. I don't want to get married to anyone, ever. You understand that? I want to do what I want to do. And you're not going to. George. I'm Marion. I love you.
George, I love you too.
We will return to WBFR Playhouse of the Year's presentation of It's a Wonderful Life after a commercial and a short news break. But first, gentlemen, does your hair resemble a dried out bird's nest full of dandruff flakes? Do you plaster your hair down like a cheap gigolo, smelling to high heaven? When girls get a gander at the tip top of your noggin, do they go,
Ew!
well, here's a friendly hint that may just help you out in the romance department. Starting tomorrow, why not try Bremel Hair Tonic? Yes, sirree, you'll be heading for success with Bremel groomed hair. A success with the gals and on the job. Bremel always keeps hair looking mighty attractive, always in place. Bremel Hair Tonic does lots more than keep your hair handsome looking.
Bremel Swing Hair Tonic makes your filthy bird's nest clean. A little dab will do ya. All the pretty gals will scream.